crazy to think that Sonic the Hedgehog has been around for 33 years already. 33! That's crazy, because I remember when Sonic Colors came out pretty clearly and renting it from a Redbox. That was 14 years ago when Sonic was only 19 years old. Sonic's getting old. But I thought I would look at the game that released for Sonic's 20th anniversary. The first Sonic Generations. What better way to commemorate turning 20 than looking back at all your greatest hits? Sonic Generations takes one level from every mainline Sonic game at the time and remakes it in both 3D and 2D, and it does that to pretty great effect. What a game. Everything about it is really good. Music, gameplay, visuals. It was even the first game I've ever gotten a platinum on, which means yes, I did it to every challenge gate and get an S rank on all of them. I don't know how I did it, I just did. Every song for the stages have been remade and remixed, not just once, but twice for each act, and it's really good. They even got the Sonic Mega Collection theme in here. And like I mentioned, each level has two acts, one in 2D with classic Sonic, and the other in 3D with modern Sonic. There's 9 stages in total, which isn't much, but they're all really good, and I'm pretty sure the most memorable stages from their respective games. They're cut up into 3 eras. The first era is the classic or 2D era with Green Hill, Chemical Plant Zone, and Sky Sanctuary. Now, these stages aren't just ported over from the original games. No, they remade them from the ground up for both acts, and you get to see these zones from a perspective you never thought you would have seen them from. And this was from an era where Green Hill was not as overdone as it is now, so seeing it here, especially in 3D, was a great throwback. You got multiple paths to take and areas where you can go, and you can just go full speed on. And with classic Sonic, it's a little bit more slower, but there's a secret route you can take to finish the act in around a minute compared to the usual 2 to 3 minute mark. Except I forgot how to do that. Then in Chemical Plant Zone with classic Sonic, it's really close to how it was in Sonic 2. Even the purple water is here, and if you're good enough, like me, you can even go through the whole act without touch. Oh, come on! Then in Act 2, there's a lot of places to drift, boost, dodge, take alternate paths. The water does slow you down by quite a bit though, so it'd be good to avoid that. But now I think it would be a good time to mention that modern Sonic also has 2D sections, which back then I didn't mind, but now I'm just kind of like whatever about it. They're still pretty good, you know, way better than they were in Sonic Forces, but now that I'm looking at it, why even have modern Sonic have 2D sections? That's what classic Sonic is for. Modern Sonic has 2D sections, so why doesn't classic Sonic have 3D sections? I don't really mind it, but all it kind of does is just slow down the gameplay. Then you have Sky Sanctuary after that, which is another cool one. This one feels pretty open where you can go around and explore for a bit. It even has the part where the floor you're running across falls, which is really cool with the modern Sonic. The one annoying thing about the stage I would say is this part with classic Sonic where you control the spheres. It was pretty annoying and slowed down the gameplay a lot. Other than that, this was a pretty good stage. Then next, the real fun begins because we go into the adventure era. First up is Radical Highway, and Act 1 was alright. But Act 2 is where it really kicks off. There's a lot of straights and loops and drift zones. They even have the part where you run down the side of a building while cops are chasing you, except this time you have boost, so it's way faster. They did a really good job remaking this. It really feels like you're speeding down a freeway. So this did a really good job remaking this, like they did a really good job remaking the next stage, City Escape. This one is the coolest stage because playing it really feels like you're playing a Sonic Adventure 2 remake or remaster. It's recognizable, but it also changes enough stuff to make it feel fresh. You got the San Francisco streets, running down the building, this area, and the gun truck. Everyone remembers this part, except now he brought some upgrades. What a fun stage. Even Act 1 is fun. In Act 1, the truck is already pursuing you from the beginning, and he can cut you off from certain parts of the stage if you're not quick enough, and you can even use a skateboard. There's even references to Mighty the Armadillo, Fang, Bark Beat, and Ray scattered all over, with them being reported as missing. And the Act 1 music for the stage is also pretty cool. It's a dance techno remix of City Escape, so that one was pretty cool to listen to. Then the next stage after that is Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes. This is the one I feel they changed the most, because aside from the beginning, this doesn't really look like Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes, except for a few areas. But you can still feel that this is Seaside Hill. This is another pretty fun one, but 2D sections in Modern Sonic stage was okay. It was a little too slow, but everything else was fun. This stage is also pretty big with a lot of different areas to go through. They even have the path where you can choose to go either with the cart or the turtle, which is really cool. And if you go out of bounds, you get eaten by a giant robotic fish. So this is a really cool and fun stage. And then after that, we go into the next era, the throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks era. So many different Sonic games with different ideas came out at this time. It seems like after Shadow the Hedgehog, Sega didn't really know where to take Sonic next, so why not try all of them? First up is Crisis City from Sonic 06. This is another good stage, lots of flowing loops and turns, 2D sections are pretty fun too, and it even has the final run towards the final tornado, and it even has the Iblis enemies. It's a good time to mention that all the zones have enemies from their respective games. The Eggman bots, the Robotnik bots, the gun bots, they're all here, which is pretty cool. Then after Crisis City, you have Rooftop Run. It's weird seeing this start up without Chip. This one has got to be one of the funnest. It's just so fast and I kept dying. I don't know what was going on with me. I just sucked really bad. I kept dying, running out of boosts. I even saw the game over screen for the very first time. I didn't even know there was a game over screen. Then finally, for the last stage, we have Planet Wisp. This one sucked. This is definitely the hardest stage. Act 1, it was okay. It was a little long, but the cool part about this stage is that you can use the wisps. In Act 1, you have the Spike Wisps, and when you activate it, the announcer even says spikes, and off you go. It was clunky. Then in Act 2, it starts off pretty good, definitely the nicest looking area in the game. Then it goes 2D and stays there for the rest of the stage. Yep, this is Sonic Colors, alright. This one definitely feels the closest to the game it's from. Obviously it would, since it had just came out the year prior, but that doesn't mean the stage is that good. So that about wraps up the stages. They're all really good, except for Planet Wisp. But once you're down with those, the fun doesn't end there because you have challenge gates. These can range from beating your double, using a character's abilities to complete the stage, doing a certain amount of tricks or collecting rings. Like in this one with Knuckles, it's pretty reminiscent of his stages from Sonic Adventure 2. This is a nice change of pace, and they even alter and change the stage around, and you can even get to places you can't get to during the normal stage. So, after you beat the challenge gates, you can activate its bell, which can either release artwork or music, and you have to catch it to unlock it. The concept art is really cool to look at, and there's a lot. I just think it's interesting to see how Sonic Team comes up with a stage, and also looking at the sheer amount of detail put into the foliage and ground. Then you have the music. 3 tracks representing every Sonic game up to this point, and you can even play them during stages, which is always a welcome addition, and there's a lot of songs. You can also unlock these by collecting the red coins, something I just don't have the patience to do anymore, which is pretty interesting to see how you change as a person. I'm not 24 anymore, I'm 25. My interests and tastes definitely have changed since then, but back then I really went out of my way to get these and grab every trophy, but now if I see them I'll grab them, but if I miss them, oh well. I already did it once, I don't really need to do it again. And then you have the boss fights. In the 2D era, you have Metal Sonic. It's basically the same as in Sonic CD, so this one's not really that tough, which reminds me that despite Sonic CD being a mainline Sonic game, there's no Sonic CD stage. Then the main boss is the Death Egg robot. This is pretty different from how it was in Sonic 2. I'm assuming because, well, I've never actually beaten Sonic 2. Then in the 3D era, you have Shadow and Chaos. The Shadow fight is so cool because it's taken directly from Adventure 2, and even the opening is a remake of the intro. It's been a few years since I last played Sonic Adventure 2 though, so I don't remember exactly what that fight looked like, but this looks pretty close enough while updating it for a new generation. Chaos was also a pretty cool boss fight because it's pretty different, but familiar at the same time. You don't have the Chaos Emerald, so you're not Super Sonic here, so you go about this boss fight a bit different, and also Chaos looks different. He has armor this time. This is because with advancement in technology, and this being the PS3/360 era, they were finally able to create Chaos with their original vision. Yeah, this was how he was supposed to look like in Adventure 1, but the limitations of the console didn't allow that to happen. So that also must mean the people who worked on Sonic Adventure also worked on Sonic Generations, which is a pretty fun fact. Then, for the HD era, you have, oh my gosh, it's Silver. Luckily, this time he didn't bring the glitches. He gave me quite a bit of trouble because I kept running out of boost and kept getting crushed by the ball. And I also forgot that you were supposed to boost into him at the end. And so I couldn't use my boost until the end to make sure I had enough, only to not do it right. Then finally, you have the Egg Dragoon. This one took way too long for some reason. I don't know what happened. I thought I got caught in some loop or something because he kept doing this to me. Then after that, you have the Time Eater, the main boss of the game, because yes, there is a story, but come on, you're not really playing this for the story. This one took a while figuring out because after getting an S rank on this to 100% the game back in 2013, I never did this boss fight again. But it's not a bad boss fight, it just boils down to dodge this, boost into him, now go 2D and boost into him here now. So it's not really that tough, as long as you don't run out of rings and die. But that's not all, because on the console versions at least, you can unlock and play through the original Sonic the Hedgehog 1 in its entirety. PC players didn't get this for some reason, but it's so cool they went through the effort to have Sonic 1 playable. Then lastly, you have the Secret Museum, an area where you can view models of a bunch of different Sonic characters, new, old, and even obscure like the Flickies from Sonic 3D Blast. You just need to know the passwords to unlock them, which I have no idea how you're supposed to get these. I just got them off the wiki, and there's a lot of trophies here. And then you even have skills you can unlock and equip that changes gameplay, like having a bigger boost meter, being able to do tricks faster, make Sonic go faster, always lands on your feet, and there's Super Sonic. Grab 50 rings and off you go. And man, this makes Sonic Unleashed feel pretty slow. Speaking of which, on PC, there's a mod called Unleashed Project, which overhauls the game to allow you to play through a bunch of daytime stages from Sonic Unleashed and the Generations engines. And while it's not as fast as Sonic Unleashed, it's a lot more stable, so Sonic Generations on PC is a no-brainer. It kind of makes it the definitive version of playing Sonic Unleashed, especially because there's no Werehog stages. Man, Sonic Generations is just so fun and replayable. Definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite Sonic game of all time. And, oh yeah, before I forget, you have the DLC, Casino Night Zone. I forgot about this because this did not release on the PS3 for some reason, so this will be my first, it's just pinball.